Welcome, welcome. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Welcome to the Total Connector Show. Let me just do an audio test just in case, because every time I did this, something didn't work out. Either I didn't have my welcome. Yeah, you can hear me. Beautiful. All right, what are we going to talk about? As I already wrote in the title space, user-friendly software, hardware applications, especially hardware wallets, coin joining, meaning mixing the coins after you've bought your potentially, or really your Bitcoin or fraction of a Bitcoin on an exchange, which is ordinarily usually, connected with a KYC obligation. You mean you submit all your data, you don't know what's going to happen to your data. So at least you want to make sure, and that's why I want to, I want to make sure that because I had to learn it, the hard way. Not the hard way, I didn't have like any kind of disadvantages or damages or whatever. But as I work myself through this process of, you go through this cycle. You buy yourself some satoshis on an exchange. Either you get wrecked, or you finally find out you shouldn't leave it there. Then you get yourself a hardware wallet eventually. Then you transfer directly from an exchange, right, to the hardware, which is good. All right. And what is important, which a lot of people, I'm not sure whether a lot of people do that with the hardware wallet. Every time you transfer your Bitcoin or whatever satoshis to your hardware wallet, you should generate every time you send your satoshis from a whatever KYC exchange or non KYC exchange to your hardware wallet. Just in case, you should generate each time a new receiving address on your hardware wallet, right? You just generate it, you copy and paste it, and just make sure you double and triple check it. So it's we are not there yet. It's not that this is not for mainstream. We're not ready for mainstreaming, mainlining, and this is what I've been emphasizing. So after that, the progression goes down. Okay, you should have a full node, which I don't have yet. All right, so it's important. Okay, you finally secured your Bitcoin, your satoshis on a hardware wallet. So the next step to become a fully, totally self-sovereign, monetary sovereign individual citizen, yes, we would all need eventually a full node, which then the step after that would be then to connect your full node with your hardware wallet. I'm still on the hardware wallet, in the hardware wallet phase, so I don't have a full node, let alone connecting full node with with your hardware wallet. And on top of that, the only plug and play device that's out there, obviously, is Casa or Casa HODL, which I still think, there's criticism from every side, because I think, to be honest with you, it's not affordable, not for the average person. I mean, it's one thing to buy that device and then update it. You buy the device for $300, and then and then additionally comes shipping and handling comes probably $330. But then you have to pay like a yearly you don't have, I think, no, now you have to, I think there's no other option, as I found out through an email. You would have to pay a yearly subscription fee. It has sort of the advantage that, okay, because it's a multi-sig, and then, or in case you have a multi-sig, as a key master, and you lose one of the keys, you can get sort of some support, and 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5. So so they have a fully professional support. So I'm sure they're pretty really awesome and professional. But it's still, every year $300, and that's a lot of money, I think, for a lot of people out there. And then another advantage is that once they come up, once they develop, or once they release a new version of that full node hardware device, you would get that full node hardware device, the next generation, sort of for free. So these these advantages, or whatever and trade-offs one would have to make if you should decide to buy a full node. But it's good, because why do you need a full node? You need a full node so you're not dependent on any kind of third party, third servers. You validate all the transactions sort of yourself, with your full node. So if there's a transaction that is invalid, or not or not acceptable, so it just rejects it automatically by default, and fully self-sovereign. So any kind of transactions you do with Bitcoin, you validate those transactions by yourself. Whether that is, at this stage, really super urgent, imminent, I think each one of us has to do, pro contra or whatever trade-off thinking, or whatever situation. I guess for people who are merchants, maybe companies who do a lot of transaction, they have also the resources to do these kind of things that are bigger packages, much more expensive packages, of course, from Casa Hodl, going into the thousands, into $10,000 or something like that. So I'm not sure about all those packages, but I guess it's specifically also, I think, designed for those companies, entrepreneurs, whatever, merchants, institutions, or what have you. So let me see. Privacy, security, coin joining, full node really necessary. So what else do I want to? Yeah. So I had this interview with Napara, one of the lead developers. I think he's going to resign as a whatever CTO's chief technical officer from Wasabi, and then just go on to programming, coding, just in the background. But it was really awesome talk. But I tried to emphasize and that the user interface, the user-friendly applications, software, hardware, applications, apps, whatever that is, if we truly intend to onboard as many newbies, as many Bitcoin newbies and noobs, into the Bitcoin space, this is the ultimate test and challenge. And I'm going to reiterate that as often as possible. We need a totally, I mean, don't, please, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but we need really idiot-proof application software and hardware. And I would count myself, in some things, on some technical levels, where usually what I hear, unfortunately from the developers, or builders, developers, programmers, it's like, deal with it. You gotta educate yourself. Well, that's okay, but we have to educate ourselves about the internet, or web browser, or anything? Or do we know really how the internet works? Do we really know what TCP/IP, HTTP is? All these things? No, we just go into the internet, we go into the browser, we open it up, we go into our email account, we open it up, we write an email, we push send. So everything is by default, it's automatic, it's intuitive, it's self-explanatory. So this is the ultimate test and challenge for the Bitcoin space. And this is what I'm saying, my name is I'm the total connector, right? So I'm trying to connect the dots, not only for myself, I'm trying to connect the people, the experts, the Bitcoiners, whether they call themselves Bitcoin realists, Bitcoin maximalists, programmers, developers, and especially UX, UI designers, user experience, user interface designers, the economists, all kinds of experts, knowledgeable people with experience come together and enforce and emphasize, and what do you call it? I mean, what I'm trying to say is that we should have a more efficient cooperation, collaboration, communication, working together, exchanging and sharing thoughts, ideas, creativity, functionality, features, everything together as a totality of a of a totally new monetary, economical, technological ecosystems. That's what we need. We need totally intuitive, user-friendly hardware, software, applications, apps, hardware wallets. And when it comes to coin joining, what is coin joining? That means you buy yourself some satoshis, right? We already have done that, right? So, and then you don't leave it on exchange. You usually, you transfer it directly to your hardware wallet. This is what right? This is what you do, right? And ideally, you would, and you must generate every time you send or you transfer your satoshis, your Bitcoin from an exchange to your hardware wallet. You generate a new receiving address. So that's all good, but still, if you've already done, as a lot of us or many of us have done, or most of us, like a KYC, your customer, you submit all the data. So by coin joining, it means that before you transfer your satoshis, your Bitcoin directly, instead of directly sending it to your hardware wallet, you send it to the software, which you can open up. There's two of them, right? As far as I know, Wasabi with the Coinjoin, it's called Coinjoining, mixing coins, and the Samurai mobile wallet, which you can also download on your mobile phone for free. Of course, everything is all open source and free. So support these people, please. And their coin mixing is called Whirlpool, right? With Samurai. So you have on your desktop the Whirlpool. You have your mobile wallet, for example, from you have the Whirlpool from Samurai on your desktop. You have your Samurai wallet. So you open both of them. You pair them. It pretty much automatically. Just need to follow the instructions. But I know it's still not plug and play. That's why you need to have watch videos or whatever, or just read the instructions step by step, or you download the Wasabi. So there are trade-offs, disadvantages, advantages. They're pro and contra. So with Wasabi, the one thing definitely that really sucks is the minimum threshold that you have to coin join. So it means if you buy, for example, for whatever 0.02 Bitcoin or something like that, you can't mix it. So why would you want to mix, right? So coin joining means it definitely, I had to learn that. So it does not mean that of course not. It's self-explanatory, but when you transfer your satoshis to your Wasabi wallet, right? Everything works as usual with the private key. You got your password, you got your PIN, and all these things, right? But everything is pretty much, let's say, self-explanatory. Maybe except a few features and functions, and what do you have to take care of, what do you have to click. So it's still not really so much is self-explanatory. But if you deal with it a little bit, if you really want to educate yourself, yes, you can. But the thing is, with Wasabi, you need at least 0.09, so almost 0.1 Bitcoin in order to coin join. So there's a minimum threshold. With Samurai's Whirlpool, that is also mixing, you have I think 2 or 3 different minimum thresholds. One of them is, for example, 0.5 Bitcoin or 0.05 Bitcoin. So you can already start mixing, right? If you have already 0. And there's, I think, it's something even below that, a lower threshold. So now, I'm not technical expert. There's a lot of fights and discussions and personal attacks back and forth between Wasabi and Samurai and the programmers, developers, and especially between Para and maybe some of it really justified, legitimate. I cannot. I don't have the insight. I don't have the technical expertise to. Because of it all boils down to the privacy issues, the questions about privacy, right? And security, and whether addresses are reused potentially, because that's not how it should be. That's why I'm telling you, every time in case you should transfer to your hardware wallet, from wherever, from an exchange or from the coin mixing software, the Coinjoin or Whirlpool, every time then you then eventually, at the end of the day, you have to transfer that, or to your hardware wallet. But before you do that, you generate every time a new receiving address on your hardware wallet. This is really, really important. All right. Just, it's just a precautionary, not a precautionary, it's really necessary and urgent, because otherwise some people, can trace, or more easily trace back your transactions, and then connect the dots and know how much you have, from whatever, from which source, and how many amounts, or how many transactions in with each amount, and all these. So it's about privacy issues. So we have to go a long way, I think, till we have a really intuitive, please don't take personal, idiot proof, because I know I call myself an idiot when I cannot handle all these technical things, because I myself, not so experienced. So, but I ask questions, I go into Telegram groups, I watch videos, I read a lot of articles, I ask questions. If you're lost, if you're confused, if you don't know the fuck what this whole thing is about, you need to ask questions. So this is what I did. This is why I also do these interviews in English and German. Sorry, I still don't have the separate platforms or website or whatever, because there was one complaint on YouTube. Oh, why do you have English and German videos on your channel? I'm like, yeah, I would have to do create a new sub channel. So please have a little bit of patience. It takes a lot of time, resources, money. So if you want to support me, please go ahead, support me with Bitcoin, with whatever money, PayPal, what have you. The links are right below. Support me so I can go on conferences, do more really active, participatory interaction, interviews, shows, discussions, panel discussions, platform. Maybe I can even go on stage as a speaker, and really focus on one topic, for example. And for me, really, that's in my heart, in my soul, that's really the one ultimate thing. I want to have the tipping point, the critical mass adoption. But now the other question is whether humanity is ready or not. I'm not talking about 8 billion people, but I'm like really talking about like a few hundred million or half a billion people, which is, I think, the critical mass. Because I ask people, what would be the critical number? For me, it's pretty self-explanatory, because right now we are somewhere between, some talk about 10 million, 30 million, 50 million users, whatever that is, it's in that range. But what we would need for really the tipping point of the critical mass adoption is not 8 billion people or 7.5 billion people. It's approximately a few hundred million people. And then the chain reaction is going to go really fast. And by that time, the external factors, the geopolitical, the macroeconomical, the negative rate interest policy, quantitative easing, the debt bubble, all this central bank, the criminal central banking collusion with the government policies and actions, and confiscation and censorship, and all the surveillance bullshit that's going on. Even in, just look at Hong Kong. I mean, it's amazing what's going on. So it's all interrelated, all interconnected. So please, if you want, please support me so I can go on more conferences internationally, globally, and really have an effect, have an impact on this on this really urgently necessary process of evolution, right? I mean, this is evolution. We don't have time for revolutions or demonstrations, or what do you call it, occupy, or or violence, or whatever, going in the streets. We don't have time for that. We don't need that. We cannot waste any time, resources, energy, hard blood, sweat. So what we need is new soil. We need a soil. We need healthy, ethical, logical, sustainable, fair, and really human-friendly soil, a foundation, architecture, and that is Bitcoin. We start with this root of this whole structure, of this whole matrix, and this is the money. right? Bitcoin is money. First, it started off as a collectible, then now we're still in the, even though, it's called speculative, of course, it's still speculative. Volatility and speculation is part of the necessary price formation. And this is part of the monetary evolution. Just look at how many hundreds of years, maybe 1,000 of years it took from going from hard money, whatever that was, uh, to paper money, you know, but because and it has, paper money has liquidity, right? Because it is governed and controlled and enforced by weapons, by military, by laws, by coercion. So what we need is an absolutely limited, scarcest money, which is Bitcoin. With 21 million Bitcoin, one Bitcoin equals 100 million Satoshis. So just imagine, what is one Satoshi worth in 10 years? If one Bitcoin at the very beginning, once it was issued in 2009, whenever that was, January 2009, under the with the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto, he started out with 0.000994 something, right? Of a dollar, right? So, and now we are, of course, we're fluctuating, we're volatile, we're up and down, we're in 2017 up to 20,000. Everybody was in FOMO, fear of missing out, and then this is unfortunately, very sadly, the mass psychology, because people don't understand it, because the price goes up. It's a very natural process. I get very psychological. People then go into fear of missing out, panic mode, hysteria, and then they want to buy at 20,000, which a lot of people did, and then got wrecked or whatever, and then started trading and selling, and then it went down and like, oh my God, I'm losing money. So it needs not only a lot, it needs less nerves, and less patience, or what. It just needs comprehension, understanding. What we need is more education, understanding, comprehension, and really understanding, comprehending the essence, the structure, the purpose, the real ethos and logic, and the real meaning, purpose of Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin about? Less technologically, you need to understand the principles. But the principles are, just watch the Andreas Antonopoulos videos. It's amazing, right? So it's about what is Bitcoin, right? What is I don't even call it crypto, because Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's not a cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is really money, right? It's in the store of value phase, in the monetary evolutionary phase, it's store of value. Then it goes to the medium exchange, then a unit of account. But then, things are already accelerating at an incredible rate of speed with Lightning Network, the second layer, third layer, ecosystems, more and more merchants, entrepreneurs are thinking and doing it already, accepting Bitcoin, accepting Satoshis within the real estate business, car dealers. Now, I don't know, which country was that now? New Zealand or something like that? Some country now made it legal to accept Bitcoin as a salary, as a worker. You can just, accept whether, partially or in total, you can accept Bitcoin. In Italy, I know you can pay officially, right? Real estate or, real estate purchase or real estate transaction with Bitcoin. So that's awesome. So Venezuela is now just announced that they are they want to, the central bank of Venezuela, fully hyperinflationary. They're thinking, or planning to, whatever, the intentions are, to at least have a partial reserve asset in Bitcoin, and, besides gold or whatever. So start now, stack sats, and really start accumulating, buy Satoshis. Really, start hodling, start accumulating, stack sats, stay humble, as Matt Odell of the Tales of the Crypts always says, and really just, lower your time preference. Let's stop, wasting our money, energy, resources on crap, on junk food, on plastic crap, on, that's our society, unfortunately. People are like under pressure. They're happy, to buy themselves a second, third car, with whatever, a credit card and or a loan, or and then they got the mortgage and debt in and debt there. But where do they store the value? They can't put it into the, because the real inflationary rate is actually much higher than is usually officially announced. whether it be the consumer price index, that's a totally manipulative thing, or the real inflation. Is it really 2%? But if you look at the prices of some of the especially services and products too, less, not the technological, funnel. Because why? Because this is where the production, the very capital intensive, productive intensive things are going on, and very accelerated. So these things are relatively cheap, or becoming cheaper. But some things, for example, very classical, very profoundly, especially in the United States, are the healthcare services, and a lot of others. Services are just exponentially becoming more and more expensive. So this is real inflation. I mean, we're talking real. I mean, where's the value going? All right, where's the value of the money you earn so hard? So anyway, going back to my point, what we really need, and if you are a UX, user experience, user interface designer expert, who has the talent, the creativity, the capabilities, the resources, please get together with those open source people who are really committing the time, the time, the intelligence, the creativity, and it's for free. Like a BTC Pay Server, Wasabi, Samurai, Whirlpool. By the way, they're coming out with a also pretty soon with a hardware device, like a red full, like a red in color red, like a full node device, right? You just plug and play. So you can finally validate. Then you're fully independent of any kind of server or validators. So you do really everything. This is what that means, right? To become a fully, totally sovereign, self-sovereign monetary citizen, right? You're your own central bank, and this is what each and every one of us should become, right? So this progression, right? So you buy yourself some Bitcoins, Satoshis on an exchange, KYC, you submit all that data, then you send it to your to a Wasabi or to a Whirlpool paired with your Samurai wallet, or to Wasabi's Coinjoin. You mix it, it's like a like a thing, like a lottery. They mix the numbers, and then so it all means that it becomes more fungible, right? It means you can exchange it with one another. So it doesn't matter if in any case, under any circumstances, if one of your Satoshis or Bitcoin should derive its path from some kind of whatever criminal sources or drugs or whatever. So nobody can reproach you or condemn you or whatever or prosecute you or whatever, or say, hey, this is not, this comes from criminal sources, so you were going to confiscate it, we're going to censor it, and blah blah blah. So this is what it means, Coinjoining, right? So you increase your privacy as much as possible, so it becomes totally, and what I heard from the reports also with the interview from Janine from what's that project? I'm sorry, I forgot that name. The project she works for. She's totally anonymous, super, I think, very, knowledgeable when it comes to privacy, security. And she did an interview with Matt Odell and Marty on Tales of the Crypt, which I listened today. So you should check it out. It's the common mistakes people do, the common privacy blunders, and what you can do, what kind of alternatives there are instead of using Google Maps. So there's a lot of tips and advice, really good, precious advice you can get from out of these podcasts and interviews. So Tales of the Crypt. Check it out on YouTube or on anchor.fm. But also please check out and support my podcast on anchor.fm/Keyvan Davani. Please write a review on iTunes, because it's also automatically every time uploaded on iTunes Play Store, iTunes, Apple, or any other medium, any other podcast platform, from Stitcher and to I think even SoundCloud and Google Podcast and what have you. So my website is keyvandavani.com. So if you don't have a hardware wallet yet, please get yourself a hardware wallet. The best experience I've had is Trezor. Get yourself a Trezor. Whether you, that is up to you, but if you have an easy time, maybe it's a matter of taste, but also matter of maybe a matter of, I don't know, functionality, how you want to type in, or maybe if you don't have a problem with the display of the more modern version, the Model T Trezor, then get yourself a Model T Trezor. Otherwise, you're definitely, one way or another, get yourself a hardware wallet with a Model 1, Model T, and there's a bunch of other now. Oh, by the way, Trezor now came, just announced yesterday, or with an email newsletter, that they're finally, listen to the Bitcoin community, and they're coming out with a Bitcoin only firmware update. So that means, if you decide so, you don't want to have, and there's a reason to that, because if you have a lot of all these shit coins, whatever that is, Bitcoin Cash shitcoin, all these other shit coins, and you got all these things. So the more you have, the more vector attacks you have, the more shit coins you have, the more vector potential vector attacking you have. So it's more attackable. So it has a security. It's not only for simplicity and because of whatever Bitcoin maximalism, but because really it increases. It just increases the security features, and yeah. So they're going to come out. I think it should actually be released today on October 2nd. And so you can, but please inform yourself whether, if you should have any kind of shit coins through your My Ether wallet, which you can also open up with your Trezor, right? If you have done that already until now, then make sure that you still have access to your to your My Ether wallet, MEW, so in case you want to, sell your shit coins for Bitcoin or whatever, or whatever you want to do, or transact with it, or trade with it, whatever you want to do with it. But just make sure you, if you update it, sort of upgrade it to only Bitcoin firmware, your hardware, then please, yeah, just make sure you still have access, and security, and accessibility is secured. All right. So anyway, so this is the ultimate goal. Critical mass adoption, but we need user-friendly, intuitive, self-explanatory user interface, user experience, plug and play. This is what we need. This is what I aspire for. I really dream about, is that more and more people, are onboarded easily, and and people should feel more confident, and trust their own, and be able to trust their own action, their own intelligence, their own decision-making process, and really just go into action. But we need really, whether that is hardware wallet, Coinjoining, Whirlpool, or a full node, which is eventually going to be necessary for each and every one of us, and then connect that full node with your hardware wallet. So these are all the steps. Each one of us is on a different intellectual level. And for me, to be very honestly, I'm still in hardware because I don't even have the time to do that right now. And I really need to dig deep into this and really understand what I'm doing. And besides, the costs, and then you have the costs. You need to buy that full node hardware device, and then each year the subscription fee of $300 again. So this is a lot of money for a lot of people. So my name is Keyvan Davani. I'm the Total Connector. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, share, support me, subscribe, write a review, positive review, authentic positive review on iTunes, and get the word out. Share this information, share the video, share my podcast, listen to my podcast on anchor.fm/KeyvanDavani. My website is keyvandavani.com. If you want to write me an email, write me at kd@thetotalconnector.com or kd@keyvandavani.com. And yeah, just keep it up and stack sats, and be patient. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon again. Bye-bye.